Another change in my voice. Divine law proven. The irrefutable, logical, and divine law that should be followed. 8 points. There's more than this, but this is a good preliminary video for those of you who need a very short summary of my book. My book's only a little over 4 pages, if I remember correctly. The foundation of the divine law is that the most logical moral conclusion is the divine law. For example, if someone says, well, I interpret the Bibles, I can do whatever I want. And I said, that's not the interpretation. You have to treat people fairly, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And then they said, well, I would, let them violate me sexually in all kinds of horrible ways. So, they should let me. Wrong. Okay? It is the most logical moral conclusion. Which leads me to point 2. Do unto others as the person who lives universal pinpoint and moral precision would do to them. Okay? Not how some sick fuck would treat them, but the person who lives universal pinpoint and moral precision. So the most logical moral conclusion is the divine law. And it's a lot simpler than you might think. You must always know that no one should be reproducing after I die. That's the most logical moral conclusion. No one has a more logical conclusion. It's that simple. Therefore, any confusion about this should be ended very quickly if the person is living divine law. And those who keep breeding, their offspring will continue to be stupid, evil scum who aren't living divine law, who deserve what happens to them and deserve to be thrown into hell when they die. Point number 3. In life, there are many psychological constructs and governing class orders, governing class order-based lies. Okay, there's many governing class orders based on lies. So in life, there are many psychological constructs and governing class orders based on lies. Following them is not divine law. You say, well, the president said, or the police chief, da-da-da-da-da. Incidentally, there's a police chief in the news, who's being accused of saying that all homeless people and colored people, so to speak, should be wiped out with a strain of a deadly disease or something. Okay? The government and the social orders in society don't know what the hell they're fucking talking about. They're a bunch of weirdos, eugenicists, sickos. We'll get to that. Point number 4. Nature shows us that I am the last valid leader possible as the top martial artist ever. This is due to technology, cheating, generational ill-gotten gains, and evil breeding, versus me being bred, obviously, to be divine. So those of you who would interpret this, as well, then because everyone else was cheating and he just happened to come out on top, is fucking retarded. God set me apart. We'll get to that. Point number 5. God set apart the valid top martial arts ever with nature and natural evolution, showing us why. With nature and natural evolution showing us why. Even the Eurocentric depictions of evolution make this clear when one thinks it through. Okay, so you see the guy with the stick, start standing upright, start getting taller, what have you. Again, it's not the tallest person is ideal by default, no. Okay, it's a combination of traits. Why is he holding a stick? Like it says in a Egyptian martial arts that I found, on the internet, it said, something called tati, and there was some kind of words before that. It said being straightforward and honest through the use of the stick, right? Again, Jesus was on the cross, the tree of life and sticks, the crossing of the sticks, the cross, okay? The crossroads with some kind of sign, in popular culture made of wood, for example. An old country sign, okay? Pretty straightforward. That even the Eurocentric, even the white supremacist, scientific racist depiction of evolution says, hey, who's the most evolved? It is the mulatto guy, so to speak, with the stick who outmaneuvers the other guys, right? Who is the fittest to survive in natural combat? As soon as you say, well, why not use guns? Because then a 2-year-old can get a lucky shot. Then a grown man can gun you down. When you look at the nature of martial arts, it is nearly impossible for somebody who is genetically inferior to outmaneuver the top martial arts ever where it matters most. It's so close to impossible that you may as well say it's impossible. And my top martial arts challenge has overkilled that idea. So it's being straightforward and honest through the use of the stick sparring, stick fighting. And in the case of the more civilized person who wants to get right to the core of the spirit, light contact sparring without a stick. All right. Point number 6. The fact that the inhabitants of the earth cheated me out of my right to lead overkilled the fact that they are the most evil life forms known to man, according to their deeds and power. It is impossible for them and their offspring to inherit divine power or legitimacy after their calculated and despicable stupidity has played out. Point number 7, true identity is part of divine law. See, when you look at this thing, again, I'm not racist, I'm mixed, but the white man really played himself out on this, where they said prevent the rise of a black messiah. Then all these years later, they said, they were trying to make it a national security priority, and it basically is, to go after the black identity extremists. Somebody who says, I am that I am, like it says in their Bible, how God revealed himself to Moses. The I am who I am. So go tell the Jews that I am who I am. And I tell them now, and I tell the world now, I am, who I actually am. The top martial artist ever possible, God's son, the one who seals the world out of heaven and their offspring out of heaven. Therefore, true identity is part of divine law. The root and offspring of divine Royal African Falcon martial arts versus the root and offspring of rebellion against the divine order. Rebellion against true morality makes one the root and offspring of evil. Point number 8, a morally precise dating spirit is part of divine law. Romantic justice is part of divine law. In the divine scheme of things, no female who isn't in my family has the right to reject me, because it is morally precise leadership, right? So in the realm of American dating customs and mere human customs, rules, and traditions, it's one thing. In the legality of the American law, that changes incidentally. For example, alcohol used to be illegal and they changed it. So it's fickle. There was no logical conclusion that went into making alcohol illegal or marijuana, what have you. Okay, so it doesn't take a genius to see that God's law is greater than man's law, and any female who lives their life the other way around is a complete fucking idiot. Not only is she breaking divine law, but she's proven herself to be a useless slut. Thank you.